Hello, I'm Mike Beltberger, and it's time for a June the 13th High Banks Highlights recap. Racing action down at the Grandview Speedway, 1/3 mile high banked dirt oval located right off of Route 100 in Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania. 89 cars signed into the pit area, 44 small block modifieds, 45 crate sportsmen, and here's how things went down for the evening. 4 heats were needed for the small block modifieds. Getting the heat wins were Loudon Reimer in the 16, your first heat winner. Craig Whitmore, your second heat win in the 99. Third heat winner was the 15L of Mike Lays, and getting the fourth heat was the 221 Ryan Belts. 2 consolations were needed. The consolation winners were Anthony Perego in the 4 and the 7 of Rick Laubach. That set up the 28 car field for the 30 lap main event. And here's how things went down. A couple cautions early in the race slowed things down. Dylan Swinehart getting the lead, and a couple cautions bunched him back up. He did have a sizable lead at one time, but again, cautions bringing the field back together. Therefore, all cautions were breeding cautions. But the last caution was on lap number 9 for a stopped Brett Cressley between turns 1 and 2. Taking the win in a last 3 laps, I should say, battle with Jeff Strunk and lap cars. Timmy Buckwalter in the 942 getting the feature win. Jeff Strunk in the 6 over finishing second. Third was Jared Umpenhauer. Jared was part of an early race caution, regrouping to come back to get third at the 30 lap distance was completed. Logan Watt in the 4M was fourth. Getting fifth was your early race leader, the 38 Dylan Swinehart. Finishing sixth was Loudon Reimer. Loudon was on a mission early in the race. He was up pretty far, but just couldn't find things later in the race, but still settled in to get a nice 6th place payout. Mike Guler in the 53, finishing 7th. Getting 8th was one of the consolation winners, Anthony Perego, and 9th was another consolation winner, the 7 Rick Laubach, and finishing 10th was your pole sitter and early race leader, the 15L Mike Lays. Again, only last caution was on lap number 9, so they ran 21 straight laps. But lap cars could have been a fixture in the finish of the race, but Tim Buckwalter found a way to get through him with Jeff Strunk right behind in the 6 over. Hard charger, Eddie Strada. Eddie finished 11th, advancing 17 positions. He was the last qualifier. Eddie Strada, the Edge, your point leader in the small block modifieds, was your last qualifier for the June 13th night of racing, and he advanced 17 spots, going from 28th to 11th. So there was a lot of passing down at the Grandview Speedway on June the 13th, and there's always passing down at the Grandview Speedway. Okay, next up, Crate Sportsman. 5 qualifying events needed for the Crate Sportsman. Your heat winners were Decker Swinehart in the 83, getting the first heat win. Colin Cox at 59, your second heat winner. Kenny Gilmore had the Dave Dissinger Tribute 88X out in front for the 3rd heat win. Tyler James in the 13 was your 4th heat winner, and Teague Miller driving the 917T was your 5th heat winner. 2 consolations were needed. Johnny Fugello in the 5-teen getting a consolation win, and last race sportsman winner Jesse Landis in the 973 coming home first in the 2nd consolation. That set the field for the 25 lap main. Provisional was added, but they decided to decline the use of a provisional that was Evie Ridge. So 26 cars for 25 laps. And here's how things went down for the sportsmen. Again, a couple early race yellow fever struck the Crate Sportsman class, but once things got going, it was a fantastic race. Decker Swinehart inheriting the lead with one of the tangles over in turns 1 and 2, but he soldiered on, did not relinquish that lead with Brett Grimm right behind him. Brett shouted every move there for a couple laps trying to get by the 83 of Swinehart, but it just wasn't going to happen. So Decker getting the win in the 83. Brett Grimm, strong showing in the 611, getting second, and hounding Grimm for about the last 15 laps was Brad Brightbill in a 19. Brad would try the low side, the high side. He'd get an advantage in 3 and 4 and lose it in turns 1 and 2. But Brad's still a 2-time winner this year, getting 3rd in the 19. Mikey Butler in the 04B. What a show this young lad was putting on. He was literally flying. He could have possibly, if the race would have continued on a couple of times, he might have had a chance to get up into the second or third spot. But a yellow fever again relinquished Mikey to a fourth place finish, but a strong run for Mike Butler in the 04B. Joey Vaccaro, after a last race front stretch incident that really sidelined the 53. In fact, they didn't think they could make it if they would have ran the races at Grandview last week, which were rained out. But Joey getting a fifth place finish in the 53. Feature winner this year, Mike Toth in the 89, getting sixth. Jesse Landis in the 973. He was your last feature winner when we ran last at the Grandview Speedway, getting seventh. Steve Hughes in the 04. In fact, Steve was as high as third. He was battling with Grimm, Brightbill, and Vaccaro, but near the end of the 25 laps, he just didn't have the setup to go the distance, but still a nice top 10 run, getting eighth for this 04 of Steve Hughes. Jimmy Leiby in the 28. We'll tell you a lot about him in a couple minutes, but he got the ninth spot. And Joe Toth, he actually went into the pits when they had an accident up in turns 1 and 2, came back out, started dead last, worked his way up to 10th. Your halfway leader was Decker Swinehart. Your hard charger, here we go, Jimmy Leiby. Again, he was the last qualifier of the night in the consolation for the Crate Sportsman, starting 26th on the field, finishing 9th, an advancement of 17 positions. The passing at Grandview is unbelievable. We're starting to see Hall of Famers and complete hot shoes, top 10 in points in both classes, running in the consolations. It's racing is that exciting and that spirited down at the high banks at Grandview. Be returning on June the 20th for another night of racing down at Grandview Speedway, again located off of Route 100 in Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania. So this is Mike Feltberger. Have a safe and happy week, and see you back at the Speedway.